Okay, hi, welcome. This is our webcast number 4, and this is where we're actually going to get into the fun stuff. You know, as fun as annotated bibliographies are, even in video format. Now we're going to get to the real meat of the issue, which is looking at the books, talking about them, and coming up with a thumb up or a
thumb down
about whether or not we like it. So this is the 2009 batch. I've got them all sitting over here. I'm just going to pull one up, and we're going to start. I'm going to start talking about the first one, then Mark's going to interject, then Mark's going to start talking. Now, we decided we're going to time ourselves so we
30
don't get
seconds.
control. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So
only.
you've only got 15.
Because Mark is a windbag and talks too much, and so we have to make sure that we move him along. So as soon as that timer goes off, beep 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 beep, we have to come up with our final, you know, up or down, and then we move on and go from there. There can be no further debating about that book. It's done and over with, and we'll get back to the final thoughts about those books in the 6th one if need be. So, are you ready?
Well, that was supposed to be a 30-second intro, but yeah.
No, it wasn't. You didn't time the intro, so it doesn't matter. I could take as long as I want on the intro. Nobody put any stipulations on my intro.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. 30 seconds.
Okay, this is Matt Landons, it's by Hazel Hutchins. And I love Hazel Hutchins as an author, so I'm a little bit biased. So she can't really do much in children's book form that I don't like, and I love this book, and I thought it was great. It's great about a new kid moving to a new place, and it doesn't get into the touchy-feely parts of, oh, and then we met new friends and everybody loved each other. It just shows it very simply in the illustrations, and I think it's well done. Mark?
I absolutely loved it. It had this kid working alone in the middle of the mud and the dirt, and you see these other little hands come in, start to bring other toys in. I thought it was a fantastic book. All about inclusiveness, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Great book.
Cute. Good for mapping in grade 1. Good in general.
And thumb up, thumb down?
Wow, that's obvious. Thumb up.
Thumb up.
There we go. Look at that. We didn't even need the 30 seconds.
No.
This is going to be easier than it looked. Okay, so you get to start on the next book. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Stanley at Sea, another great Stanley book. Dogs following his nose all the time, leads him down to the pier, into the little rowboat. Off he goes to sea with his friends. They need to try and find their way back. They think they're lost. A typical, oh, there we go, moving on. I think we're a little short. Comes across this freighter in the middle of the sea. It's a typical feel-good Stanley story.
This is one of my pet peeves in kids literature and literature in general. The books that are based on other books that are based on other books. This is what, the 130th Stanley story? Are you kidding me? And every single one of them gets nominated for the Blue Spruce, and I am tired of them. The first one wasn't even that great, and I think it won, which again is part of the problem. And now here we are at number 85, and it's still Stanley and all of his little doggy buddies. And yeah, kids like it okay, but to me it's growing a little thin, and I tune out about 2 pages into all of them. So, are you ready for this one?
Yep.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Bah. What's that?
That's a half.
Oh. I didn't know we could do that. Alright, there you go. It's a half, so that's a down and a half for that one. Alright, next.
Moving on.
Alright. L.A. Jones, Midnight Superhero by Ann Codringer. Yeah, you know what, at first read I thought it was good. I was like, oh, it's neat, it's got a nice little premise, it's about a shy kid, and you know, but he does really cool things. And then I read the little back blurb. She's born in Niagara Falls and now lives in England. So what is she doing on this list? She is no longer a Canadian, she's been in Britain, and it's just a fine book, but there are hundreds of other books like it that are just as good. So anyway, that's my take on it. I'm not sure why. I love that we have people that were born in different countries that come here and then they get put on the Blue Spruce. That's fantastic, but it's the other way around, it doesn't work for me. Anyway, what did you think?
Well, I'm going to talk about the story. I actually like the story. Although I thought it could have gone a little bit further. You know, it's got this little boy and he's dreaming big, and you know, we all dream about being superheroes.
How do you know he's dreaming?
Well,
maybe it's true. But I like the ambiguity of it, but I just think that it's like, I just think in the end, I don't know. That's the whole point of the Blue Spruce, is to build awareness of Canadian authors. And she's not Canadian anymore. She now lives in England. That's what it says right there. England. So anyway, what do you think, Mark? 1, 2, 3. Down, just because of England. That's for me. I don't know what it's
I think it could have gone farther.
Yeah, me too. Alright, good. Done. Alright. You get to start this one, buddy.
Such a prince. I don't have a lot of great great things to say about this. I thought it was a typical Cinderella kind of storyline. You know, there were a couple little interesting things in there with poor Martin, but yeah, I wasn't impressed with the illustrations, and yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one.
I like this guy. I like his book Alpha better, and I also like his other fairy tale books that he writes for a little bit older kids. Dan Barrell is great, and this book is good. And in a genre where we are done to death of the fairy tales, the mixed up fairy tales and those kinds of things, this one kind of takes us a little bit back traditionally to those kinds of things, has a bit of the humor to it, but for the most part is a new sort of fairy tale. We're not based on, you know, 100 different Grimms, and yes, we borrow and beg, but I love the newspaper thing. I wish maybe we could have taken that a little bit farther, but you know, pretty cool fairy godmother. When in a book where the princess doesn't take top billing, that's a plus for me. So, I already gave my thing away. Well, maybe it's not going to be that. Let's see. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm up right there. Down. See, that's why we do this. This is the debating. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, good. I thought you'd like that one for sure. Happy ending inside. All right.
It's okay.
Is this me? Do I talk this one?
Yeah.
Buttercups, Lovely Day by the Becks. Mother-daughter. Mother writes. No, mother illustrates, daughter writes. I really like this book. I'm a sucker for poetry, especially in kids stuff, and especially poetry that is not rhyming. And kids stuff, rhyming couples are great too, but this is fantastic. It's a great way to outline day in the life of a cow in nice, repetitive, poetic form. I love letting kids know that anyone can write poetry, and that certainly is an easy way to show that using the descriptions around you can do that. Sorry, that was long. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I honestly don't understand why this was on the list. It was an okay story. Yeah, it's about a nice cow.
There's great words in here.
Yeah, they're great words, but I didn't think there was anything special about it. There wasn't anything that really caught my eye or caught my ear when I was reading it aloud.
Oh, so, I like it. Sounds great. Sounds a great thing to. It's a great book to read aloud, in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
Thumb up, thumb down. 3, 2, 1. Up for me. Oh, all right. Next.
Glancy with the puck. You know, I couldn't help it as I was taking a look through this. It kind of reminded me of the Archie and Jughead illustrations. The same style of haircut. You know, they just got the Sault Ste. Marie hockey hair boy. It was an okay storyline. You know, again, there wasn't really anything that caught my eye with this one, or you know, it was a typical try to be a good hockey book, I think, for younger kids, and I think it failed in a lot of places.
I've never read a hockey book that is any good. This one is certainly not an exception to that rule. You know what? It tries to take Casey at the bat and redo it, and I love Casey at the bat, but I don't love Clancy with the puck. It doesn't translate. The whole idea with the penalty, it just doesn't work, and I love the Toronto Maple Leaf jabs, but at the same time, it's a little, you know, it just is not as far as hockey book goes, and you know, kids love hockey, but I don't love this book. 3, 2, 1, and that was easy. All right, my turn. Oh, Making Grizzle Grow. I was lucky that I got this one. I love this book. I love Rachel Gilmore. I think she's fantastic. Any picture book or novel that she's ever done that I've read is A-okay with me. So this is just a really cool book about a girl who's a little mad at her dad and goes outside and feeds her anger into the snow and makes this ferocious beast that comes to life. It's a great book about imagination, great book about playing outside, a great book about being a kid. It's just a great book all around, and it's to be expected from her, always.
And I'd have to say that I agree with every point that you made. It's a great book for imagination. Whenever I read this aloud, the pictures are incredible. The kids, they really feed off this, and the whole dinosaur bit, you know, it's great for that grade, kindergarten, grade 1 age group. You know,
I just want to say again before we are obviously both can give a thumbs up that Rachel Gilmore is somebody that she is born in India, and again, her main characters are always from different races and religions and places, so she doesn't, I mean, and that's great. I think that she's able to come from somewhere else, but also write about a lot of different things, so she's very talented, I think. Okay, 1, 3, 2, 1, big thumb up.
Excellent.
It's moving day.
It's moving day. Great story. That's I reread this one. We talked about this one a couple of days ago, and I wasn't all that keen on it. Great story in terms of using it as a science book to talk about where animals go and where they burrow and where they live and how they live and what animal lives there, and a great storyline on how they move about and what they bump into and how their day goes from there.
Yeah, it's got a lot of nonfiction stuff that you can use through there. You can talk about the seasons and different animals in the seasons and how they do things, and you know, you have the same hole is a different home for many different people. You know, it's all well and good and great, and the illustrations are really quite neat, I think, and the little nonfiction stuff at the back is good. But I honestly, I just feel I read it and I close it and that's that. And I don't enjoy reading this book aloud for whatever reason. And sometimes I find the ambiguity between fiction. I like reading fiction books for the storytelling aspect, and non-fiction books for the information aspect. And this one to me blurred the lines too much, and is not a fun picture book to read, and maybe doesn't have enough information non-fiction wise. So 3, 2, 1.
It's barely a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, but good. But you made. I'm glad you made the turn. That's good. See, that's why you read again. See, that's why you like it. So there we go. Carrie Fagin, my new shirt. Again, Carrie Fagin, again, I like the stuff that he does for older kids, but this was my first real picture book experience with him, and I liked it. I thought it was a good story. I don't think that it's a book that kids are going to take to as well. It's like A Sackful of Feathers that was nominated a couple years ago, which is a great story, has great, you know, it's great ambitions for kids, but they just don't get the whole part of it. But I like it. I like the stuffed shirt, and I like the chase through, and I like his dark humor. I just don't know if it translates picture book wise for me.
It didn't translate well for me, and reading it aloud with kids, I found a lot of it was way over their head. So I found it an interesting book myself, but for you know, I think for a young age group, it didn't translate well.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Now that I know I can do a sideways thumb. I can get my sideways thumb. Oh, look at it. This is apt and blast. This is completely random.
I love this book. I really do. Chester, what a great antagonist. You know, poor Melanie Watts trying to write her little story here, and the cat keeps jumping in. You know, when you're beginning to teach writing, what a fantastic way to start off your unit with a book like this, where you've got this crazy cat that's jumping in and changing your storyline. But I absolutely love the illustrations. Love the book. Love the storyline. Love it. Love it.
Okay, I will disclaim this by saying that I love this book. Is great. I have no qualms about the book in general. But again, I mean, now I go back to the Blue Spruce and the way it goes. And just the year before this, Melanie Watson won with the Chester book, or with the Scariest World book. I'm sorry. And then to have her be nominated the next year, and then she gets nominated, like it gets a little ridiculous. The whole idea again of this is to introduce kids to new Canadian writers. At this point in time, at this juncture, by the time Chester comes out, if you didn't know who Melanie Watson is, again, you shouldn't, most kids, any kid would see a Scariest World book or a Chester book now and be able to relate and do that kind of stuff. So, I'm not the book is fantastic, Melanie Watson is fantastic, but give it a rest, is what I'm saying. I don't think that, again, this is not like the Oscars where, you can win 100 times and that makes you a better person. I just think that again, we need to be exploring more Canadian authors, and because this book was on the list, another great Canadian picture book is probably out of print because of it, that should have been recognized as well as these ones are. So, that's just my little spiel on that. This one, of course, won for that year. What a surprise. Again, it just makes it a no-brainer, and it kind of gives these other 9, zero chance, and I think that maybe a couple of them were also deserving of some consideration. But anyway, so 3, 2, 1, down in the context of this situation. Okay, I know, it's surprising, but that's true, that's the way it is. So, those are the 10 books for that year. 2009, and that's our little debate, and I think we did a pretty good job. We didn't have to use the black pen.
I know. So stay tuned, because our next webcast is going to be the 2010 debate.
And I bet it's going to be
a little better than this one.
I'm pausing until we get to turn off.
Oh, alright.
Like a fade.